everyone. Your designers are here.
I'm Anita from Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly with My Soulful Home. And we've got tips and tricks and decorating advice for you. So let's get started.
Open concept. Does anyone else have an open concept room?
Semi.
No.
This is a good discussion because we have open, semi, and not.
And not
today.
I'm a closed book.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, let's talk about what we like about open concept rooms to start with. I like it because my family can hang out in the living room, in the kitchen. We can all be together. Someone can be cooking, and we can be sitting in the living room, and it's all this one big happy feeling, of everybody being together. What about you, Yvonne? What do you like about it?
Well, I love to entertain, so I think it's a wonderful way, a floor plan, if you're going to entertain. It gives you an awful lot of space, an open space. And also, I like the idea of having more light. And this is something that I just love, lots and lots of natural light in my home. And one of my rooms in my semi-open concept is very dark. And I keep thinking, if that wall just wasn't there, I'd get so much light from the outside windows on the other side of the wall. So those are two things that I like about it.
How about you, Kelly? Anything
Well,
you like about it?
Yeah,
so you
I
don't
do.
have it, but do you wish you had it? I mean,
Well,
what's the
I
deal?
don't have it now, but I did have it. And the reason I don't have it now is because of the nature of the house. I mean,
Right.
as you guys know, the house was built in 1886, so it just wouldn't lend itself to an open concept. I had
Right.
some thoughts about taking a wall down, but you don't want to have the whole house fall down either. So, we didn't do that. And it just seems to suit this house. But I did build a house from scratch. Right before almost right before we moved to California. We only lived in the house for about 8 months before we moved here. And
wow.
that was open concept. So kitchen to sort of casual eating area into a big family room with the fireplace and all of that. So you could look from, if you were standing at the stove, you could see all the way through to the fireplace. So that was the most open concept I had. And I really enjoyed it for the time we were there. I think it's a really nice way to live with a family, and it suited that house.
And Kelly, you brought up a really good point, and that is, your home is historic. It's a Victorian farmhouse. You don't want to mess with that historic integrity of your home.
That's what I thought, Yvonne. I just thought, it just wouldn't be right. And
Right.
I'm fortunate enough that we were able to do some reconfiguring in the kitchen where we have a large eat-in table in there. So everybody can sort of, you know how everybody ends up in the kitchen anyway?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of the beauties of open concept. I bet if you took aerial pictures of when you entertain, I bet even in an open concept, people are in the kitchen. They're probably like, the hot spot. They're
Sure.
still all in that area. So we have that happen here, but it's big enough, certainly for my family of 4. And then when we have kids have people over or whatnot, we can all be in the kitchen, which spills out into the backyard.
And especially where you live, because outdoor living, you can live that, 8-9 months of the year.
Yeah. So it's it's working for this house, but I definitely think open concept is a great idea. We were chatting about when that started. We're thinking in the 90s.
In the 90s?
Yeah, right. So it's been around for a long time.
Well-
And so there are a lot of houses with an open concept.
And let me just throw this in. Before we built our home, we were looking at buying a beautiful big mill, like a 3-story mill that had been converted into totally open concept. We're talking like not a wall in sight, except for the
Wow.
bathroom walls on all 3 floors. And it was beautiful. It was situated on a large stream and had lots of acreage. But the only thing I loved it. I mean, I absolutely loved it. But the only thing that really I kept thinking is, I've got little kids with lots of toys
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. And that would just drive me insane.
Yeah. There's no hiding the Legos. and the
No
Barbies.
hiding.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which is a good point. And that brings us to one of the downsides to an open concept room. And let's talk about some of the downsides to decorating. Or what are some of the struggles, with decorating an open concept room?
Well,
Well,
you need flow.
Yeah,
For
you
sure.
definitely need flow. Absolutely. And here's something. Here's a positive though about that. Then we'll get to the negative. You don't need as much furniture.
That is
point.
absolutely true. And in fact, if you put in too much, I think that's a problem because it's easy.
That's the con.
Yeah, it's easy to make it feel
Yes.
crowded if you
Yes.
if you put too much furniture in.
And it can either be a plus or a minus, but you don't have walls to do art.
Well, that's right. I mean, we have a
Yeah.
whole lot less wall space than we used to in our closed concept house. And I think the other thing
I
is
never
kind of,
thought about that with the walls. Yeah, no art.
yeah, there is. And then, well, I noticed it because we got rid of a ton of furniture. This house is about the same size as our old house, but it's open concept. So when we moved, I had to get rid of a ton of furniture and artwork. So
And see, for someone like me who loves furnishing, that would be difficult.
oh, I've sold so much stuff. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't bother me anymore. Actually, it's kind of fun after a while. 'Cause then
You're
you
good
kinda
at that,
change things
though.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
used to it.
I think another downside of living with an open concept is you have no privacy, very little privacy. So you have to really love being with the people in your home all the time.
Uh-oh.
And
I'm sensing something here, Bobby.
No, I do. But there are times like when my kids were younger, they just needed to get away from each other.
Right. And then everybody kind of has to head to their bedrooms or something like that.
And you know, I'm the type of person, I love to be with people. I love people. I love to entertain. I love to do things. But I really do need my own downtime in my own space.
Well, you can go to another room. You can go to your office there.
And see, although we're pretty open, my office is not.
So
That's
there you
nice.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can close off mine as well. Okay, well, let's talk about then what you need to do when you're decorating an open concept space. What are your tips for doing it right?
Oh, let's have one of our favorite phrases, the limited color palette.
Absolutely.
Wow, if that's only one tip you get from us, take it and run with it.
And there is so much going on for your eye to see because there's nothing hidden.
Yeah.
There's no walls to
Right.
break that up.
Exactly.
So you don't want a lot of color coming at you. It would be sensory overload.
Well, and the other thing is the bigger the space, the more that's in it, the more it can feel overwhelming and busy and cluttered. So if you have a limited color palette, not only does it make the room feel calmer and just more flow, but you want all the whole space to have the same color palette because then it feels like it goes together. You don't
It
want to have,
does.
a
It
red
does.
area and then a blue area and then a green area.
Right.
I don't want that in my my semi-open concept
I don't
home.
want that in my closed concept
Yes,
either.
yes. Well, here's the thing. You're taking one big open space in a totally open concept area, and you're making it have different functions. So you need like the kitchen space and the eating space and the entertaining space and the family space, and you have all those spaces contained in one room instead of several rooms or several spaces that have maybe a half wall or part of a wall that gives it a little more structure. You have nothing. So putting all those functional rooms into one big space, you have to be so careful that you don't overwhelm your senses. And
and
color,
I think-
color is the perfect way, or limited color is the perfect way to do that.
Right. There's so many tips for working on an open concept room, but using color, the same color throughout the space to unify it, to me is the number one tip.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Using, just like we talk about how to corral a vignette with a tray, let's corral everything in an area and anchor it with a rug.
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It delineates space. It delineates the purpose of that space.
Good point.
Well,
Yeah.
and what you're right. So you want these seating areas. If you have room for more than one seating area, go ahead and put that in there rather than forcing one big seating area. And when you have an open concept room, don't put all your furniture up against the wall.
Good
Oh,
point.
it's
I
like
love
they're being held up. Okay, furniture, everyone against the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
exactly what it reminds
And
me
all
of.
of you go sit on those couches against the wall. Yeah. What you can do too is exactly what Anita's saying. If you create different areas with your seating, so maybe there is the the big comfy sofa that the family watches TV on. And instead of then flanking it with 2 chairs, create a little maybe gaming area or reading or studying area with 2 chairs and a small table, if you can get away with that, over on the other side of the room.
That's a pretty look too, Kelly.
Yeah, so you're creating different destinations to do, different tasks.
I love that, creating different destinations in your house.
Yeah, which is what you really do in the backyard too. And what is the backyard except one giant open concept? Generally, usually people don't have like a stream and a waterfall and a pool, and they have a yard. And then in order to make the yard feel more like a house or more like a livable space and make it feel bigger, you create little rooms. You put a bistro table and chairs or something. So maybe think of an open concept in a similar fashion. What we did in the house that we built, picture you're in my kitchen, and then I had not an island but a peninsula coming out.
Yes, gotcha.
So the cabinets all around the floor of the kitchen, then this peninsula, and then so that was almost like a break. Okay, the kitchen stopped, but you could see over it, obviously. There was no cabinetry on top. And then the next area, there were some French doors, and there was a round pedestal, sort of casual dining table. And then I did a sort of a half wall, lower than a half wall, definitely higher than a knee wall, almost like it was just to the top of the sofa. Just a wall.
Oh, okay.
And it almost acted, I didn't put lamps on or anything, but it almost acted like a console table behind the big sofa.
That's nice.
And so it just was
Kelly,
for
that's
your
a wonderful idea. It delineates that for you.
Right. It just broke it up a little bit. And that's something, if you have an open concept now and it doesn't have any walls like that, that's not a structural thing. And it really wouldn't be that difficult, I don't think, to just frame out and create a division like that. And even though it really didn't, you really wouldn't hang art on it. It was too low, or a mirror or anything that would look weird. But I think the girls might have colored on it at one point, but those just sort of graffiti artists at work, because they were as tall as that wall. But it just kind of broke it up in your eye.
Now, when you do things just like you're saying, Kelly, using a half wall, or sometimes like using a columns, on either
we had
go up to the ceiling.
Too. Yeah.
Yes. Although it still is open, it gives that space. It's almost like an optical illusion. It has the illusion of creating its own space because you have extra elements in there that give it parameters. I think that's a wonderful idea.
I haven't thought about that house in detail in a long time, because it was kind of we built it, and then Peter got this opportunity to come out to California, and he wanted to try it, and I was like, I don't want to leave. I just built this house. Literally, I was like, ooh, should I use polished nickel or oil rub bronze, hardware on the cabinet? And he was like, what do you think about moving to LA? And I was like, what? No, I just want to talk about cabinet hardware.
See you on vacation there, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the nice thing about doing what you're talking about. You don't have to pick whether to be totally open or closed. You can do a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is what you have. Now, why are you semi? Tell us the semi part.
If you look at my house is a farmhouse style, very traditional in its layout. It has, just think of 2 big wide bowling alleys. We call it, and the front part is one and the back part is the other, and it's totally open. It's dining room, foyer, living room, and then in the back it's kitchen, breakfast nook, family room, and then there's offshoots of that as well, because we have, like, if you go through the mudroom, you can either go to the laundry room or to the office. We have 2 bathrooms downstairs to sort of mix that up, but generally, when I look at my house, I think of 2 big bowling lanes, and how to work within that, and flow, and using the same colors. Actually, is very, very important to get that look.
Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quinn's. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor. And I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order.
Well, anyway, I'm thinking about knocking the wall between my family room and my more formal living room totally out. And right now we have French doors between them, and glass that you can see, and it's really nice. We can open them up, but it's still, the opening's not wide enough that there's great flow. The problem is, I know this is a load-bearing wall. I mean, there's no way around it. There's only like the one wall that separates the two parts has to be a load-bearing wall. So that's the biggest thing about taking a house that's already built and making it open is messing with that load-bearing wall. Yeah. So I'm really thinking about it, and I'm thinking that would give us more space, and we could open it up, and we could double our family room size and really utilize that area in the front of our house. So I'll let you know in about a year.
Okay, and we won't tell Bobby.
No, do not listen, Bobby. That's right.
Like, how's it going there with the load-bearing wall coming down?
But I have a couple of those projects going on right now. But I think it's important that that you can't do those things. The issue is the cost. It just might be cost prohibitive for us to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's get back to some things that people can do to decorate their open concept rooms. And another idea is to use similar furniture styles to kind of pull it all together. So kind of like, what Yvonne had said in the past is some of these red-toned stained woods, don't go so well with the lighter, maybe some maple or walnut. So you want to kind of make sure all your furniture, it doesn't have to be the same stain, but the woods kind of complement each other.
I think you could use a color palette that works together, and you don't have to have like the same sofa, but you want to have you could either have the same style of sofa and maybe something a little different than like maybe have a really neutral and then just have one that's sort of a neutral tone on tone print if you want to do that, the same style, or have the sofas be different styles but have them be the same color. You know, there's all kinds of ways you can create that look. The sky's the limit. And that's the fun part. That's the beauty of open concept, is there are so many options for you.
Oh, yeah.
The downside is I'd have to get rid of 3/4 of the furniture in my home.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you really can't put us. Although what we did in our living room, because the sofa's kind of in the middle of the room, because it opens to the kitchen. So what I did was, so when you walk in the back door, you're actually, it looks weird, I think, in a way, because you're walking behind the sofa, because the seating areas the living room areas to your left, and the kitchen is to your, or excuse me, the living areas to your right, the kitchen areas to your left. So to the right is the back of a sofa. So what I did was I put a table, or a sofa table, or whatever you want to call it, behind the sofa, and then 2 chairs there on either side. So and some lamps. So so you kind of don't feel like you're looking at the back of something, or that you came in the back way, which you did.
The other thing is, and you made this is such a good point, Anita. You have to make your own walkway.
Yes.
In a room, you know, you have to make an area that you can walk through, like a movement. A good flow for your movement. And that's really important to do that. So that was good thinking, Anita, because really you just made a pathway.
Well,
and an attractive one, nonetheless.
Well, and one where you don't feel like you're looking at the back of something. So you've got those nice chairs, and then you can sit there. So you can't sit, on the back of the sofa.
And I have the same problem in my house, because if you are standing in my kitchen, you're going to partially look at the back of a sofa. But I can't put something else in there because it abuts my breakfast nook.
Okay.
And there's just too much in there already.
Yeah, there you go.
I think the flooring is really important. I mean, generally, you would imagine something. If your house was purposefully designed with an open concept, it's going to have the same flooring,
right,
to unify the whole space. But if you're making it into an open concept space, you have to take into consideration the flooring. Maybe you have tile in the kitchen, and maybe you have carpeting or hardwood someplace else. You may want to consider, or at least throw it into the budget considerations of changing all the flooring, or having the floors sanded and stained to match.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That to me probably would be one of the most important things to do first.
Yeah, it would depend on how it looked, but I would probably opt to, depending on the budget, to go ahead and change out that flooring.
Again, in our house, we had a combination of carpet and hardwood, and we quickly knew that although it delineated the space, it didn't give us that open look we wanted so much.
Yes.
And we just decided, okay, we're just going to get rid of the carpeting, and we did, and we put the hardwood down ourselves, and it makes such a huge difference.
You all are
so that's a
handy.
good tip. Now, when I say we, I mean Bobby.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, we are very handy. That's right.
I think one of the big words here for open concept is balance.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you don't want all your tall furniture on one side and then the short furniture on the other side. I think that's sometimes people do. They're not thinking about it all as a whole. I think you have to step back. And, my favorite tip for decorating any room is always take a photo of it.
Yes, the good idea.
There's so many things you're not going to notice just walking around. You're so used to your house. But once you take a picture of it, put it on your computer screen, then you're going to say, oh, I didn't even notice, fill in the blank. There'll be a bunch of things you didn't notice if you've never gone through this before. But that's one of the things I've noticed in some rooms, that they don't feel balanced because the furniture's not all similarly,
right.
Yeah.
And here's another, I'm just going to piggyback off of that, Anita. You do need varying heights in a room, or everything it looks like you're looking over everything. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be very careful about making sure you incorporate tall pieces along any of the walls that you do have.
Right,
like,
and that's
a
what
tall
I'm saying.
buffet or something like that.
Don't crowd them all in one spot. Kind of space them kind of around the room.
Exactly.
And then I think that's the other thing. If you've got really tall ceilings, well, actually, this is something I've seen a lot, is that people put in very small furniture in a big room, maybe with a tall ceiling, or even if it's not a tall ceiling, if it's a big room, you don't want lots of little furniture in there. It ends up looking, kind of like a furniture store.
Yeah, or a dollhouse.
Especially in an open space, you do want fewer pieces of furniture, but probably nice size furniture
Yeah,
to
I
work.
think so.
Yeah, to delineate a space. That's correct. I really agree with that. The other thing that I think you can do, if you want to make a place a little more private, and we were thinking about doing this with my family room because it abuts my breakfast room, and we're thinking I would have loved to almost had like a partial wall where my sofa is. And at one point I was thinking about buying just a bunch of old doors that had glass in them and making a wall out of them, almost like a partition, but you could sort of see through it.
Right.
Yes,
I've seen people do that. It's really pretty. In fact, I walked back where I drove my daughter to her day program today, and there was a screen door on the ground because I live in this
On
old
the ground.
neighborhood.
Stop! Get it! Wait.
I
Please
bet
tell
it's
me you
gone
put
by
it in
now.
your car.
A jewel.
I didn't grab it because I thought, what am I going to do with this?
We'll wait. Go back. Go get it.
Yeah. We don't mind.
Right?
As soon as we're done this podcast or this episode, I want you to get in your car and go get that.
Yeah. And I want to see a picture of it.
In your house.
It looked a little, we call it farm fresh. It looked
Yeah.
very dirty.
What do you call it? Rusty, chippy, crusty? Is that
Rusty,
what you call
crusty, chippy.
it? Rusty,
I
crusty,
keep saying
chippy.
that backwards.
I
like,
love
getting
that.
the words right. That's so funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
But
right,
even
well, I have to
using
say, I'm a
architectural
little
things.
disappointed you didn't get the screen door.
I had to come back and talk to y'all here. See?
Oh, okay.
Oh, how now? How?
Oh, y'all. We're
Yeah, it
here.
would take like 3 extra seconds. But those
Oh.
Sounds like she has experience.
I know. Yeah. In decorating an open style, you can use beautiful architectural things like an old screen door. There's so many beautiful ways to use that because you've got such a great open space. So you can hang it from the wall. You can put it, put a few together and make a screen. There's so many, hang it from the ceiling. There's so many great ways to use old things like that to give added character, because that's something you really need to do, is really think about adding a lot of beautiful character to those open concept rooms.
And if it's a tall ceiling or, even if it's not a tall ceiling, really think about, too, don't forget about your ceiling. You can plank it. You can add beams. There's so many beautiful treatments you can do to your ceiling.
It's another way to delineate the space, too. If you did decide to do the planking, we had very high ceilings in the family room in that house that I've been telling you about. It just went all the way up and a giant wall of windows. It was a really beautiful house. I'm really not sure why I left it.
Well, because you wanted to live with your husband.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Let's remind her.
It was time. It was time to give it a try. I said, "Okay, surfer boy, we'll try California." But he doesn't surf. I just decided to say that. Yeah, we had giant high ceilings, and it was difficult to make that space really feel comfortable and warm. And so all the suggestions that you are giving now, had I lived there longer, I probably would have used them all.
Incorporated some of those.
Yeah,
right.
because it is kind of a difficult way to decorate an open concept. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
When I think of open concept, I really think of Magnolia Farms and Joe and Chip, but because they've made that so hot right now and in style right now. And but you have to remember, she's a designer and she does this all day long. And she makes it look effortless.
And she has a giant team of people.
I know. But I really, really think open concept is really a difficult something to decorate. It's not as easy as just you're going to decorate a room that's closed off. There's a lot of things to consider when you're thinking about open concept. It can be done beautifully, but you really have to work at it.
Yeah, the bigger the room, I agree with you, Yvonne. The more moving parts, the more complex it is, the more difficult it is to get it right. I mean, I think the smaller the room, the easier it is to make it work. So,
and let me just also say this: one of the biggest pluses of open concept, if you are, especially if it's a new build, if you're thinking about building something that's not as spacious as you'd like, it works best in small houses. It's wonderful to do something open concept.
That's true. I mean, we did that at our farm. I mean, it's a 1,000 square foot house, 2 bedrooms, and I know some other. If it had been an old house, then it would have been all chopped up, and then the rooms really do feel very small. But
they do.
It's not a big living area kitchen, but because it's open concept, and we have tall ceilings, it feels much more spacious than it really is.
Yeah, it lives larger.
It does, exactly.
And so if you're in a small house that you can't really maybe go fully open concept. Here's an idea, and actually a client of mine just did this, and it really changed the whole look. She had not a large kitchen, and almost like a little bit wider than a galley kitchen, and lots of cabinetry, probably a little bit more than she needed, and it abutted the dining room. And so what she decided to do was just sacrifice some cabinets, I think it was maybe 4 cabinets, and we opened up that wall to the dining room to make sort of
the whole wall or the half.
No, not just like an opening, like almost a large pass through. So there was still counter, and then there was a little bit of space, a little bit of height, and then kind of like window framed it. It made the opening. And you're not necessarily going to be passing the pancakes and all that through, but you're involved especially if it's a smaller home where the kids don't have all their own rooms to do their homework, or there's not a study or something. So you're using the dining room as a pseudo office as well, or a homework area. So she could be in the kitchen doing her thing, getting dinner ready, and her boys could be right in the dining room, and they're still seeing each other, even if they're concentrating and not talking. They're still together in a sense. Or if they have a question, she can answer instead of coming around and out of the kitchen, because even though you're just steps away, you don't feel together.
And Kelly, the most embraced area of our homes to have an open concept is our kitchens.
Yeah.
So the other tip, the last tip I have for today, because I can see our time is running out, is to, just like we said, not to use small furniture in an open concept room, not to use lots of little pieces of furniture. The same thing applies to accessories, not to have lots of little tchotchkes all over.
Yes.
Because the room is big, it's going to really feel cluttered, and it's just going to detract from that open feeling of the room. So when you
less is best.
Right, clean surfaces with not a lot of stuff on them, maybe just one or two decorative things that are large and beautiful, you're done. You don't need to keep going.
Yeah.
So
This was such a good discussion on open concept, but we're done for today. I know. I could talk about another hour on open concept. I could too. But we want you to remember that we are here to help you create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey there. If you're loving our podcast like we're loving our podcast, we would love you to rate and review us. Head to iTunes to do that. It's easy, and it would mean so much to us.